The chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, Congressman Ohio, is with us. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Sean. Good to be with you.
All right. Did Chris Wray lie about the issue involving Catholics?
Well, he can be as aghast as he wants to be, but it sure looks like now it was much broader than the Richmond field office. I mean, we got a less redacted version. That's a problem in and of itself. Why they redacted this stuff? Just give us the open document in the first place. But it now shows that FBI Portland was involved, FBI Los Angeles was involved. So it wasn't just one-off. It wasn't just Richmond. It was broader than that. And never forget the term they use, Sean, radical traditional Catholic, a term they just created, and then they defined it as if you're pro-life, if you're for a strong border, and you're opposed to affirmative action, then you're a radical traditional Catholic. That sounds like just a regular Republican to me in so many ways. So they define this term, create this term, and but for a whistleblower, but for these number of whistleblowers who've come to us over the last year and a half, last 2 years, we would not have known this. So this is scary, but now it's becoming a pattern with the FBI. They tell us one thing that turns out not to be so accurate when we finally get the documents.
Now, the FBI knew about Hunter's laptop. They had a copy in December of 2019. John Solomon has reported that by March of 2020, the very latest, they had verified the authenticity of that laptop. Then why was the FBI meeting weekly with big tech in the weeks, every week in the weeks leading up to the 2020 election? And specifically, I want to ask you about Elvis Chan because he testified under oath, I believe. I was not confident that I was not a party to any meeting of social media companies where Hunter Biden was discussed. And yet we find out from a Facebook official and others that, in fact, he was. Did he lie under oath?
Sure looks that way as well, Sean, because he said he had one conversation with Facebook when they asked him directly, asked the FBI directly, is the laptop story real? And they said no comment from the FBI. Turns out the very next day, October 15th, 2020, he's on the phone with folks from Facebook saying he's abreast of where the Hunter Biden investigation is. There's no indication that the New York Post story is false. There's no indication that this is a Russian information operation. And yet they let Facebook go ahead and censor that story and let the American people believe that, in fact, it was. Even though, we point this out all the time, Sean, even though they had the laptop for a year and spent so much time pre-bunking this idea because they knew at some point this was going to break. This story was going to get out. They knew it was going to happen. So they're pre-bunking that with these big tech companies, and they're primed and ready to censor. But they still asked the question, and the FBI knew the answer, but they said no comment.
And then the Integrity site head of Twitter at the time, Yoel Roth, confirmed in the Missouri case with then Attorney General, now Senator Eric Schmidt, that in fact that big tech was warned repeatedly that the misinformation campaign may be about Joe or Hunter Biden. Is that correct, sir?
Weekly meetings, they were told, be ready for a hack and dump operation. It'll happen in October. It'll likely involve Hunter Biden. How did they know? These guys were predicting the future, for goodness sake. They knew because they had the laptop. So what they've told us initially about this story looks like it wasn't accurate, just like what they told us initially about the Catholic memorandum doesn't look like that's accurate. Again, this is, I think, becoming a pattern now with the FBI, not the agents on the ground who do good work, but the higher-ups in what they tell the Congress and what they tell the American people.
Do you believe that the FBI is politicized and weaponized and the DOJ is being weaponized against conservatives and Republicans?
I do. I think that the facts are there. And then you can also look at what the DOJ did with this Hunter Biden plea agreement. God bless this court and this judge who saw through it. But it continues, this unequal application of the law and this pattern of not being square with the Congress and, more importantly, with we, the people of this great country.
Chairman Jim Jordan, thank you for that update.